Langston Hughes spread the news of a mother's blues. We believed it took a mother to nurture a son, a village to raise a child, a father for added guidance, protection, and smiles. All the while, Langston Hughes spread the news of a mother's blues. Because her life son ain't been no crystal stair. She's black. Or brown, with kinky hair coiled and tightly wrapped like perseverance's grip in choking out despair. My climb, my ascent on life's staircase, meant to inspire nerve and serve as fodder for your intended greatness. Through the darkness, and life for me ain't been no crystal stair, breaking generational curses with candid conversations. Yeah, talk is cheap and life is hard. But we kin folks, kin folks, kin folks, kin folks, kin folks, kin folks.
And this is your truth to open. No, I'm just joking. This ain't that show. Welcome, everyone, back to Kin Folkx. I'm El Monique, the host and the mommy of Kin Folkx, and I am here today with two guests, Miles and Loraine, mommy and son, and thank you so much for joining us. So
Thanks
welcome to Kin
us.
Folkx.
Thank you.
It's so good to have you both here. What is it like not having your own face?
It's an ongoing battle that was getting done in court.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We'll
Okay.
see. We'll see. I'll be soon back in possession.
You don't need to battle. Just don't
okay.
shave this, and then there won't be as much confusion.
Or I don't wear glasses because that would really my glasses.
Okay.
Right.
I want full custody of my face, but you know.
Whatever. It's evolving. He's starting to look more like his father as he gets older.
You sound like someone or a regime I'm thinking of. So you want full custody of something that you did not birth, okay?
And now
Don't make me get political now. All right, I know that's going on, you know,
Exactly.
but that's okay. So it's really good to have you here. It's great to have both of you here. I know Miles because we work together in the community, and this is a pleasure for me to have the opportunity to meet his mom. And I don't have to be unbiased with this. I love your son, and I want to first just applaud you for whatever it is that you have done over less than 30 years to create this. What this young man is doing in the community, and I'll give you an opportunity to share with our viewing audience what that is, but he has his hands in a lot of things.
He does.
And we engage in at least 2 meetings where he is, if not the youngest, one of the younger participants. And he's able to do that in a way wherein all voices are equally affirmed, where I feel like I'm not listening to some kid who doesn't value anything that I've lived more than half a century now, and I meet young people who don't always value that, the same way I meet people in my own age group who don't always value what a younger person has to say and contribute. That is not your son. Mm-hmm. And it has been a pleasure for me and comfort, because I'm sitting in a position where I feel like there's someone to pass the torch to.
Thank you.
All these battles that we are fighting, that Miles is personally involved in, it feels good to know there is someone capable, still growing and evolving like all of us, but capable enough to pass the torch. What does that feel like for you as his mother?
Very proud. I think Miles encourages not only myself but his sister just to try to be more engaged with the community. Just very proud to watch him come into his own. He's always had his own voice, but it's gotten louder over the years. He's still always very respectful, but he's always had some type of a voice. You know, whether it's in high school, starting a program there, in college, being very active. He's very sociable. That
Yes.
part I will say he gets
Yes.
from his father. He's very, very, very sociable.
He is.
Yes.
He is. Forthcoming with the hugs, with the affirmations.
Yep.
Yes, he is. Miles, you're hearing what your mother's saying. What do you think accounts for what she just said, you having so much voice? And it, I would think confidence comes along with that.
Yeah. I mean, I think I grew up in a very loving home that was always told, like, oh, we're so proud of you. We're so proud of you. And, I mean, you kind of, as a child, the things you get praised for is the things that usually grow into, like, your personality. And so, like, a lot of I was praised for many things. But, like the when I was truly in my light, when I truly felt, like, comfortable in my skin, like, I think I would get praise in that too, and I really enjoyed the work too. Like I would say, even though I get my sociable side, you may say, from my dad, I would say I get my nurturing side from you of making sure that we're the community is always taken care of. I don't think there's any person that's ever came into our house that didn't feel like they were a part of the family. I remember back in undergrad, there would be, like, because I went to undergrad in the same city that I grew up in, and so in Rochester, New York. And so there would be a number of students who would not go home for, like, Thanksgiving or Christmas. And I remember one time I was like, oh, yeah, they're not going. I would tell my mom, oh, yeah, some of these people are not going home. And she's like, okay, what are they going to do on Thanksgiving? I was like, I don't know. And she was like, what do you mean they don't know? Tell them that they're coming with you. And that happened every Thanksgiving, every Christmas, until I graduated undergrad. And then even beyond that, like, where even when they would come down to Charlotte and some of my friends wouldn't go up to their family, or they would just, like, stay in where they're at. Like, I've had friends come up from Atlanta, and then they come down from Rochester, and I'm hosting Thanksgiving, and it's of the request of my mother. And
Are you going to keep going after we made an off-camera agreement not to talk about food?
well, I didn't.
And
say
now
it.
here you are with Thanksgiving. Do I need to tell everybody about how you can cook? Did not bring a sister any of that spinach crab dip.
My jaw.
I don't want to blow you up, though.
My
so.
jaw. She said that her crab dip was beating any spinach dip that I could ever get at a restaurant.
Yeah, but I didn't know that you were putting the extra on it with the crab meat. So I take it back. I can be humble.
And I didn't know he could make that. Never offered.
I am a person of many hats, many cards, many tricks. That's how you stay sharp.
Anyway.
Okay. So let's keep this friendly. So you were saying that part of the where you gain the confidence to be able to speak up and advocate and affirm, and I know we didn't use every single one of these words, but that's what it all meant.
Yeah.
That started for you at home, and when you are affirmed at home, if I'm wrong, stop me, but this is how I understood it. And you said that had happened?
Yeah.
There was something about finding yourself. So who is yourself? What self are we talking about here?
A bit of a revolutionist, a bit of a outspoken person, a creative, a lover of people, public health professional.
You're just gonna do me like that. You know what? Okay,
I would
Miles.
say.
Let me just come on out then, since he playing, y'all. He playing. I'm loving it though, because this type of wit is just it's exciting for me. It's not angersome at all. How do you identify, Mr. Perry?
I identify as queer, in terms of a black queer person. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Will you tell you that, Mommy?
I'm not I'm not tied to any pronouns for real.
Okay.
Gender is a social construct. And I think in terms of, like, where I get the, like, outspokenness from, I think, like, where I was raised to, things that are right, and things that are wrong you should talk about. You should speak up about. You should be able to voice that, hey, I don't agree with this. And you can do that in a respectful way, even if it is contentious. And I think sometimes people are afraid to speak up or say, "Hey, I don't agree with this," and I don't always agree with my parents, and I make sure to say that and then we
sounds
present
human.
our cases.
Yeah.
That sounds really human. You know, I don't
Very
think
much
none
so.
of us. I don't think any of us always agree. And if you're in a relationship and you're talking about we never argue and we agree on everything, something is wrong.
Right.
That is not healthy.
Right.
Because you are not. Even identical twins aren't carbon copies of each other.
Exactly.
They're still individuals, and that means we have our own brains.
Exactly. And do you not argue or that you're afraid of conflicts and what might come from that? People should
That's a
learn.
word, y'all.
Exactly. People should learn the benefit of rapture and repair in a relationship. And then,
You
yeah.
want to talk about that? I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about it now, or you can come back.
Let's circle back on that.
All
I want
right.
to make
All
sure
right.
that
I do have a question for your
Mm-hmm.
mom, though. So that identity that Miles was talking about, and I said, "Did you know that?" And you said, very calmly. When did you know that, and what did you know?
I think in some way, shape, or form, his father and I always kind of knew. And Miles will tell you, I don't know if he has told you, like when he first came out, he said he came out as bi to kind of spare us. And, you know, when he left the room, we were kind of like, no, we don't think so. But, you know, but still trying to go, okay, who are you going to prom with? Is the girl just from those social constructs? And I think it was just because we were more concerned about, one, safety. Is family going to say anything? Are people going to say anything? I remember his father saying, I probably should get some money together because somebody says something, I'm going to be in jail. And, you know, but still just...
So he's saying that in support of his son, like, I'm not going to stand for anyone.
Right, and I think when
bad-mouthing
it
him.
came across to Miles, it was more or less where we hesitant. We wanted him to be straight, but I think it was more of just a safety issue. Just, you know, family saying something because no, we're not going to do that. I think his sister probably would have been more vicious than either one, me or his father. But I think we always knew. And then eventually I picked him up one day from undergrad, and he had, was it pink or blonde hair at the time? I can't remember. And he had a half shirt on, and I was like, what do you have on? He was like, Mom. And I was like, I would say that if it was your sister with a half shirt on and showing all of that. But, you know, that, and then he just grew, and it was just like, well, whatever. He came in with some space boots one day, and Dad was like, what do you have on? And we just learned Miles is Miles. And he has, what I love about him, he has always lived in his truth, even if we're uncomfortable with it or anybody else, and you just get on board or you don't. And that's where he was. Yeah, we had a conversation last night about him bringing his cousin home. He was like, I'm not. And I tried the mother stuff, but why don't you? And he stood his ground, and I was like, good, whichever.
I did end up bringing my cousin home, but
Not the time I wanted you to bring him home, but okay. We did. But we always knew. I think looking back at pictures, I think we always knew.
So how challenging was it for you, Miles, to have the conversation?
I don't think it was incredibly challenging. It was kind of prompted by my other friend coming out.
Oh.
Yeah, and he like came out, and then like I remember telling them, and my dad was like, "Oh, if you're gay, just let us know now." And I was like, "Well, there's something about that."
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
so then I said I was bi, like my mom said, to spare them. I don't think I ever took your protectionism as like, oh, they don't accept me for being queer. I don't think so at all. One, I never grew up religious. Like I'm a kind of a evidence-based, logical person. I never grew up religious. Like to our family, since we didn't grow up religious, there's like some things that like grow up in a traditional black family where it's like, okay, this would be a little taboo to talk about. And
Not
she was-
religious.
right? And she was a health teacher.
Oh, I don't have any pearls.
Oh, yeah.
For the
Clutch,
better.
but I'm pretending to
Exactly.
clutch my pearls. Facetiousness.
And she was a health teacher for more than half of my life growing up. So like we had like, what would be awkward about me coming out, and we have all these models of reproductive
vagina
parts,
and the
right, in the basement.
I didn't know that.
And it's like,
Wow.
yeah. So like the conversation about like sexual health and sexuality was kind of always present. One of my best friends growing up, his mom was a very quite a more masculine presenting queer woman, and like I remember I remember one time because he was like my childhood best friend, and so I remember one time she came over and she dapped up my dad, and she was like a tall 6'3"
Oh, wow.
woman, like
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
and like my dad was like 5'8", 5'7", I think. And so,
Okay, I so get the visual.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
And so yeah, I think like it's always kind of been present.
So it's like Kevin Hart and I can't think of her name.
Brittany Garner.
She's a black comic.
Mm.
She's got a big voice. But Brittany Griner would be okay. That's
And just in terms of the height difference, that's
Right,
what it was
right.
looking like.
Right.
And I think like part of me learning my voice was there were things like when they were like, I remember one time we were in
Leslie.
Texas.
I'm sorry, y'all.
Oh, yes.
That's my undiagnosed AD there.
Yes.
Her name is Leslie, the comic that I can't think of. She was in Ghost
Saturday Night Live.
Busters and Saturday Night Live. Yeah.
Yes.
She's tall.
Yes, she is. But what's it called? I remember one time we were in Texas, and I had like this little teardrop dangling earring, and my dad was like, "Do you gotta wear all the jewelry? We are in Texas, and I don't want to," because he would say, "I don't want to have to go to jail for anybody." And I think part of my being outspoken is kind of growing up knowing there's somebody that would go to jail fighting over if you came at me crazy being homophobic. And I was like, I remember I told him one time, I was like, I would rather die a martyr in my truth than to like live my life in fear of like expressing myself truly. And I still stand by that. And I think that even multiplied when I got to college too, because when I got to undergrad, the University of Rochester has the class population there is a little more timid. And so like, and I was like president of the LGBT group, Pride Network, the longest running LGBT organization in the nation in any college. And I remember I would be there and they would be like, "Oh my God."
I know Pride Network. I didn't know you were.
Yes,
Go
I
ahead
was
now.
president for 2.5
wow.
years. And so like I remember like some of the students would just be like, "Oh, I'm so scared of," and I would be like, "I wish somebody would say something. I wish somebody would say something. I wish that they would give me a reason to go take it all the way to the administration, to everybody going to know about this homophobic incident."
I got to stop you.
Mm-hmm.
You got to know, or I want to know if you know, how not typical everything what you're saying right now is. I mean, it's so beautiful, but not typical.
Right.
I mean, there's a bunch of stuff going on here that people who solely buy into a stereotype when it comes to people of color that doesn't exist. Okay, number one, you're talking about both your parents.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Know my daddy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Grew up with him enough to be able to say that, oh, this trait comes from my father. This comes from my mother. So the first thing is two-parent home. Second thing is two-parent home of two professionals. Okay. The third thing is you have a mother who is speaking to you routinely about sexual health and wellness. Then you have a dad who is saying, well, I don't want to go to jail. Nobody better say anything about my son. Again, all atypical. You don't have what people think of as the toxic alpha male father who tried to beat who you are out of you or didn't affirm who you are. And I'm happy that you have that, and I'm happy that you're here today, because people need to know that we are diverse in our experiences. Right. And just because we're brown, everyone's not living the same story.
Right.
There are those of us who have relationships where we are nurturing our children. And I'm not trying to make any connections. You're the one that made a connection. I'm just saying what he said, y'all. And what he said was, we weren't religious, and my mother was a sexual health educator, and this is what you get. That's what he said. I'm just going, I could do a lot with that, okay? But I'm just saying what you said, and I appreciate.
You're gonna get me beat up by them church folks.
I'm a New Yorker too. I'm ready, honey. Always ready. Don't have to get ready. This ain't what you want, okay? I'm there. I'm here for that. And I'm here for it in a way where I'm not going to argue with so many people. There are people you'll never see sitting in these chairs. There's one of them I could name, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to say that he is a honcho of someone who currently lives at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. You see him often on people's podcasts and at colleges arguing about things. I think the last name ends with a K also, but we were just going to... Ain't never gonna be here. Intentional double negative. Yes, his undergrad degree is in English, so when I say it ain't gonna, that's intentional.
Exactly.
It ain't gonna happen because this is about navigating challenging conversations. This is about healing. This is about growing. This is not about clickbait. This is not about I need somebody here who I know doesn't agree with anything that I'm ever gonna say because you don't even agree with my very existence.
Exactly.
There'll be other platforms for that. But here, as I'm listening to you talk about your growing up, and you are like, with every word out your mouth, it's like you're just debunking some stereotype. I could have started with you're college educated. But like I said, again, every word out of your mouth is a debunking of a stereotype. And I appreciate that. The world needs to hear that. And know that we are perfect and flawed in all of our diversity. I am a parent myself, and I know that I don't know if your mom got one, but I didn't get a handbook, and I had 2 babies. So I'm trial and error, figuring it out, trying not to do trying to break some generational curses and cycles, not necessarily do it the way it was done. Just because your mama did it doesn't mean it was right, honey. You can do it differently. And I tried to do some of that. So I feel good when I see and feel and am able to experience family the way you're showing family. So thank you again for that. So in all of this beautiful, loving, affirming, somewhat atypical, but I do want to say there's more of it than you know about. I'm not saying that this is atypical, so yeah, there's 1 in 3 million. No, that's not the case. What is the case is that we like to put the negativity on blast, and that's what we see. So it doesn't mean that there aren't more miles out there. But we also know how challenging relationships in our lives can be. And it is not easy for most parents to hear, particularly if they're parents of color, knowing that their children's lives will be more challenging just based on them being brown. So it's not the easiest thing to hear. Oh, and also, how was it for you? You already knew, but as a mother, like, what went through you? What types of feelings did you have when Miles finally said, yeah, well,
I think for me, mostly just the fear of other people not understanding, the fear of other people's prejudices, their biases. And then, I had those thoughts. I was like, oh, wait, am I going to have grandkids? What are those types of things? How is it going to be? How am I going to react? Not having been exposed to that all of the time of when he brings his first partner home. I'm welcoming to all of his friends, and absolutely, we will be respectful, but, I think just the whole thought of it.
Did you tell him?
Huh?
Did you tell him?
I didn't.
That you had these fears?
I don't think I did. I don't think I did.
So now you're hearing it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Talk to your mother.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was always going to adopt.
Not that part. Address what your mom just said about, I was afraid because she had concerns about protecting you and your safety, and even her own reaction. Talk to your mother about what she just said.
I think I kind of knew that you were scared.
He knows I'm a scaredy cat on every level.
I think I kind of, my mom was worried. She's worried. She be worried often.
Still
and,
am.
and still is, and still is. I think it's a little more comfortable now, like especially when I let her know that I have community and I
No,
have
you're
like
looking at me. You're
yeah,
talking to your mother
and I
about
have,
her
that,
fear.
yes, that I have. I think it's a little more. I think things like knowing that I'm like around Seven or Jahia, or River makes you feel like a little more safe or assured in my safety.
That they're family.
Yeah, that they're family and that they're gonna that we're gonna keep each other. And I think like I mean the kids ones. Man, I can't help you in that one. I never wanted to start from year zero anyway because
Right.
I don't think I'm suited for it.
And even just, sexual health part.
Yeah.
You know me, that's always been a big thing, worried about that. Like, the big what ifs, And I think, when you're gone out of time and I always go, or you're out and I go, be safe. I mean that on every level
Right.
of be safe when I say that.
Right.
So, but I think you kind of knew that.
Yeah. And I think that's what, although like I think that's what why I got on prep so early. I still, even though like I probably could have had the conversation, hey mom, I want to get on prep. I think like I think I was still scared to do it. So like I ventured out and got it on my own, and I got it because of like I was like interning in Michigan at one point for a summer internship project, and I was working at or interning at a queer youth clinic. And I was like, ironically, the prep outreach specialist. So I could talk all about it. And then I think one of the providers asked me, they were like, "Oh, are you on it too?" I was like, "Oh no."
No, that's what we do.
Yeah.
I've been a prep navigator, not on prep.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And then
I get it. I really do get it.
Yeah. And then they were like, "Oh, are you on it now?" I was like, "No, I'm like scared to like tell my mom that I want to get on it because like, I mean, the implied."
What does it imply?
It implies, hey, it's kind of like birth control. Hey, I'm sexually active.
Okay. All right.
And it protects you against HIV, but we know that the tried and true method is using a condom. Condom's not always present.
It's one of
and
them.
And yes, it's one. It's
more
one
tried
of,
and true.
There's
would be
more tried,
abstinence.
exactly, more tried and true. And so, like, I think the kind of the implication, kind of like, hey.
And ain't nobody doing that, y'all.
Right.
Most folks ain't doing the abstinence part.
Right.
So yes, get the condoms.
Hello. Yes,
and,
get the prep. Yes, get
yes.
the doxy-pep.
Yes.
Know your status.
I'm with you.
And so, like, they ended up, they were like, oh, we're connected to Michigan. We're going to send in your, because I remember the first time I tried to get it was actually in University of Rochester. And I was like, I stay up to date on, like, all things sexual health. Like, I didn't change my major in undergrad. I knew I was going to be a public health major. I knew I was going to work in HIV, healthcare and research and prevention. And I remember I tried to go to campus health, and I, like, told the lady, I got tested, and then I told the lady, hey, I actually want to get on PrEP. I remember she told me every barrier that stops most black queer people. She was like, oh, it's expensive. We're going to have to test your kidneys. We're going to have to test your blood. We're going to have to do all that. And by the end of the test, that alone is going to cost.
She was discouraging.
Yes, she was incredibly discouraging.
Wow.
And she was Kin Folkx. She was
Gotcha.
Kin Folkx.
Gotcha.
And she was like, and you're going to have to get all of that done, and that's going to be $2,500 alone. And then by the time you get the bottle, that's another $2,500. And you just need to, she essentially tried to say, hey, you just need to do the condoms and then also just not have sex. And that was my first instance of ever trying to get PrEP.
Oh, wow.
And so I kind of like, that was my freshman year. It wasn't until my sophomore year going into my junior summer or my sophomore year going into my junior year in the summer.
Did you talk to your mother about this? Or
The
you
PrEP
didn't
part?
because you didn't want to, the whole, it would
Would
imply
lie
that I'm
yes.
sexually active, so you didn't have that conversation.
Yes.
Why not?
I don't know. It was like, even though like my mom was a health teacher, who wants to really talk about sex with their parent?
Nobody.
Okay,
Nobody.
Well, we
I
are
do.
today.
Yeah, no, right. but you do, but like, who really wants to talk about? And then like,
What could have changed that for you? Anything?
I don't know. I mean, well, yes, there was another health clinic. My first mistake was going to, in which shouldn't have been a mistake, but Campus Health was, I should have went to Trillium Health, which
Oh,
there
wow.
was another health clinic, and they specialized in LGBT care and
Okay.
all of that. And I was like, you know how like
But
the
you were on a
Bears.
college campus.
Yes,
Why wouldn't you think
exactly.
that going to the college's health clinic would be the thing
Ex-
to do? That seems like a natural progression to me.
Exactly. And so like when I got and ended up getting on prep from like the health clinic in Michigan, I of course wanted to keep on my prep. I was like, okay, well I go back home and over the summer. So then I went to Trillium, and then I just kept up my care there. And that was really affirming. Like even though it wasn't necessarily it wasn't necessarily black providers, like most of them were queer. I remember at
Okay.
one point most of the prep navigators had like Grinder accounts, and like they would all have the same bio, and it would say, "Hey,
Okay.
I work for Trillium Healthcare. Like, talk to me
Right.
about anything that about prep or PEP." They could drop off PEP to you. They would pick you up for your appointments. They actually would fill
That's
out.
awesome.
Yeah, they would actually fill out
Talk about
their bio.
outreach and enhanced patient
Exactly.
navigation, honey. They had that on lock from what you're saying.
Exactly. And they would have filled out bios. Like it'd be face picture, and they go through the whole thing. 5'8", 150 pounds, bottom. They would even put the sexual position, and I think that adds a real touch to, yes, even my provider is having sex. Even the person who's talking about prep
Yes.
is having sex.
I agree.
And so like I think that touch.
Love how comfortable you are sitting here talking about tops and bottoms in front of your mama.
Yeah.
I
But
hear
go
everything.
ahead.
That was I corrected every paper in college. I could probably
Yeah.
tell you just as much as he does.
Yes. Oh, so that's the other thing. Like, because I had such an interest in sexual health. Like, I remember in 2015, before I got to college, I was interning at Rochester Victory Alliance. They are one of the labs that are trying to make a HIV vaccine. And I remember reading the statistic: by 2020, half of all black gay men will contract HIV within their lifetime.
Oof.
We are now currently in 2025, and that number has actually increased. 55% of all black gay men within their lifetime will contract HIV, and that moved me. That statistic stuck with me, and surprisingly, that stuck with. I'm friends with quite a few other black queer people that are in public health, and they all cite that statistic.
Okay.
Actually,
I'm just trying to
yeah,
remain
and
because that's
yeah.
a lot.
And the thing,
55
55
is a lot.
Yeah. And it's I knew that for black people specifically, and especially black queer people, hearing me talk about PrEP can and does make a difference than hearing it from somebody who is not black and queer.
I agree.
And I'm always completely open. I'd be the first one to tell them I've been on every form of PrEP. Every from Truvada to Descovy to now Aptitude, and when lenacapavir comes out, the 6-month shot, I'll be on that one too. And I try to be on it first, so that way when I hear somebody say, "Oh," because this is a medical hesitation that I'll hear from most black queer people, of "Oh, I'm gonna let it be out for a few years, so that way," kind of like you first.
I know what
yes,
you're talking
you
about.
first bunch can be the
Let's
guinea
see
pigs.
what happens.
Right.
I don't think I'm gonna get the COVID vaccine
exactly
for at least another 8 months, and let's see if people are really dying from it.
Right.
I get you.
Yes.
I get you.
And I'm so quick to tell somebody, "Oh yeah, no, I've been on PrEP for almost 10 years. Some form of
Wow.
PrEP for almost 10 years. And I probably will be on it. And I've been on it even when I'm in a relationship. And I would stay on it, even if I get in another relationship. Yeah, I think all of that, and it's helped me have these conversations. I've convinced a few of my friends now to be on PrEP or to switch to the form of PrEP that actually works for them.
Mommy, look what you did. This is just. You're right. I agree with what you're saying. I know this to be true. We share being in the industry together. I felt a little tearful when you said 55 because I thought of, because I am old enough to be your mother, and I've been in this fight since the beginning, since it was GRIDS, a Haitian disease, a gay disease, the gay cancer. And it started for me when my mother lost her firstborn child, my brother. He was 29 years old, and he died of AIDS. And so I never thought that was, I think, 1987. That today I'd even be talking about it.
Right.
Back then, I would have said, "Oh, please! That 40 years later, it'll be gone." I live in one of the richest nations in the world.
Right.
There's no reason why there won't be, and here we are today. And I am happy that there are things like PrEP and DoxyPEP now. I'm on the fence. I'm happy about it on one hand, but as a person who's lived through the horrors of the AIDS epidemic, and I know you'll get tired of hearing this, but this is true. And when it comes to lives, you have to get over me repeating the fact that at one point I went to like 2 to 3 funerals a month, and everybody was under 40 years old. My mother was bonding with other women over the loss of children. I mean, it was horrible. I don't ever want to see that happen again.
No.
And I probably won't, because we have PrEP now, we have DoxyPEP, but during the pandemic I saw PrEP parties too.
Right.
And so on one hand, I'm happy that we have it, but the false sense of security that it gives some people, and
It's like women
the
in birth
lack
control.
of
Yeah.
making better choices and decisions, that part I'm not happy about. And so this is one of the reasons why we do this. It's one and a million reasons why you and I, Miles, and your mom continue to do the work that we do, because we know we have to keep having these conversations. We got to keep filtering good, accurate information, filter that down. Okay, like same way we hand down old wives' tales that might not make any sense, we got to hand down some truth that does make sense, so that we can protect and save the generations after us, and the ones here can flourish and thrive, and all that good stuff. So I'm glad that we have it, and I just want to say to people that yes, we do have it, and if it's something that you think will help create a better and safer sex life and sexual health and wellness life, because I think anything that you do when you're safe, it's better and you have more fun. Anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I want to throw on there too, because I often hear like about the choices, or like the us having to make choices. I will say that it is a little sad that we might make the same choices that our white queer counterparts make, but we pay twice as hefty fine. And
Yes,
I
we
think
do.
part of that is because we don't massively adopt PrEP.
Okay.
Like, despite the choices of like, you could be abstinent, you could use condoms, you could engage with less sexual partners, but it's almost like we have to do these things.
I couldn't be abstinent.
Yeah, me neither.
No, I couldn't. I heard you say you could be abstinent. No, I can't.
Me neither.
I'm still, you see me breathing?
Yeah.
I can't be. All right, I'm sorry messing with you.
but yeah, no, like
No, I understand.
Like,
It's
it's
a
like,
choice for many, just not me.
Right.
But I understand.
but we have to have this considerations for these choices, and our white counterparts don't. Or if they do,
Many
but
times.
because like they have almost the assumed baseline of PrEP, and this is something I've especially noticed in the South. Like, I had this entire conversation with this boy one time of like, he was like, "Oh, I don't want to get on PrEP," and then he was like, "Oh, is HIV even that big of a thing anymore?"
Was this somebody in the Southeast?
Yes, this was like maybe like 3 months ago.
Oh.
And I was like,
We know them stats as New Yorkers, right?
Right, yes.
Y'all can say what you want about New York, honey. Tell them, Miles.
And you can get on PrEP very
Oh.
quickly, very easily in New York too.
But
And
the rate of HIV infection, Northeast compared to Southeast, who has greater infection rates?
depends on what city you're talking about, but the South has just
Charlotte versus New York.
Per capita.
You already know.
The South has a little bit more.
You want to get canceled? You scared of getting canceled. You want to tell the truth? I heard you whisper it.
The South has a little bit more.
You heard that, y'all.
But
we all need to be safe. But what he said is, okay, let me paraphrase it and just mess with Miles. What he said was, the Bible Belt, where the fundamentalist Christians are.
Yes.
has more of an HIV rate per capita than sinful New York City, where all the heathens live. Okay, that wasn't Miles's words. That was El Monique.
Right.
But
But
it's true statistically.
it is, and I think there's there's a few factors. I mean, I just told you about one clinic in Rochester, and I told you all that they were on Grindr. They would come up, drop off PEP, and pick you up for your appointment. They used to have a referral thing. I think I was getting like $50 for like every 2 people I was sending there, like, and so like, but I don't see that as much.
Incentives.
In fact, the first time I ever heard about somebody ever paying for an HIV test was here in North Carolina. I thought they were just
wow.
free everywhere. They offered them at the dentist in
Okay,
New
well,
York.
let me just say that I'm not trying to be shady, y'all, for you indigenous Southerners. I live here. I just made 18 years, and I love Charlotte. But I know it is almost an occupational hazard being a New Yorker, okay? Because, see, that's your template. There is no place like New York. It's real. But if that's all you know, you compare everything to where nothing else like it exists.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of comeuppance when I came here. I learned that no one knows what a regular coffee is in Charlotte. Okay, I learned that. For one thing, I had someone looking at me crazy because I asked for a hero sandwich. We almost had an argument because sub is the word down here. I mean, I was like, "It's turkey with cheese, damn it! It's on bread." She said, "Oh, it's sub." I'm like, "Oh my Lord, have mercy." That regular coffee got me a black cup of coffee with nothing. But again, that is you come from a place where there is no place like it. You have a certain amount of access and convenience.
Yeah.
Year one, I was cursing. We went to the movies on Christmas. No, correction. We tried to go to the movies on Christmas. All the theaters were closed. I wasn't used to that because I'm a New Yorker. What do you mean? It's one of the things you might do after It's not like that anymore. They're open now, but 18 years ago, I couldn't seem to get into a theater because they were closed because it's Christmas holiday. I wasn't used to that from where I come from. I'm used to a 24/7 bodega. Movies are always open, that type of a thing. So I could see you being shocked when you're like, what do you mean I just can't access PrEP everywhere? What do you mean I have to pay for an HIV test?
Right.
I could see that being like, wow, that is like so surprising.
Yeah, and I'm like happy that I'm like somebody that's gonna Google it. I'm gonna find the care that I need and want in any city that I move to. But like that little bit right there could get somebody discouraged. Like
Yes.
And then I remember there was somebody that they had to go get one, and he was like, oh, it was only like $65. $65.
That's still
for something that is. I'm sure.
I got shoes that cost less.
Right. I'm sure that that
really?
test from creation, manufacturing to testing to diagnostics to all of that costs no more than $7. And if even that.
Wow.
And to think $65, I could see why some people won't if this is just the
or
entry
can't
or
Didn't you have a provider that you knew more about PrEP than they did? You had to explain what it was. They didn't know what it was.
Yes, I was in a hospital. When I was in a hospital one time, and it was like a GI issue, and like they just kept on. I remember
gastrointestinal.
Yes. And like I remember as soon as they were like asking me like the demographic questions, and I said I was gay man, they were like, "Oh, we think it's HIV." I said, "Oh, I don't think it's HIV." They were like, "Oh, well, you said all of this. It could be HIV." I was like, "These symptoms are so not in line with what like none of my symptoms are flu-like. They're like they're different. And I'm on PrEP."
So
and
the hangnail that you could have had, it must be HIV.
Right, yes.
It's just like no one knows that is a common...
Exactly. And mind you, I was in Northwestern Hospital in Chicago, in the heart of Chicago. And I'm thinking, this is not a rural hospital.
Right,
this is not you should know this. And they were like, oh, I told them I'm on PrEP. And then I told them I think I was on Descovy at the time. They were like, oh, so you already have HIV. I said, no, I don't have HIV.
Wait a minute. Stop right there.
Yes, this all happened, and
Would it be disrespectful if I called him a liar?
I
Let me just
encountered
ask your mother.
nine.
Can I call him a liar?
You can.
Because
we were on the
this,
phone
you
with
know
some of
what?
these-
Yes.
Listen, I'm not censored because
Wow.
this sounds like some bullshit.
It was.
You telling me that a clinician?
It was.
You said, "I am on." You named the medication, and their response to that is, "Oh, so you already."
Yep. Like
Oh my God!
I
that
remember.
is so disheartening.
And I interacted with 9 providers in that 2-day stay. None of them knew it, and every time it would be like, we think it might be HIV. And I remember I got so fed up at one point. I was like,
Wow.
I need one. I'm not going to do this HIV test because I already know how your hospital system is going to work. You're going to charge me $75 for something I can get for free everywhere. Or most places. I shouldn't say everywhere. If I just said that, people be charged.
Can I just stop you for a minute? If you don't know about PrEP, this is what you need to hear right now. Every 3 months, you have to submit to a blood test to make sure that you are still. It should be non-reactive. Okay, they don't like this language anymore, positive and negative, but. Just for the average person out there who may not know non-reactive or reactive, every 3 months, if you're on PrEP or want to be, you have to have your blood drawn to make sure you are not HIV positive.
Exactly.
That's how you get the medication. So for a clinician to say, "Oh, well, I think it's..."
Exactly.
That shows a level of ineptness that is more than concerning.
Yeah.
More than concerning.
Yeah. And
Wow.
and I was like, at one point, and then at one point, I was like, it could be ulcerative colitis, it could be Crohn's disease, it could be, I might have shards of glass in me. Anything. At one point, I told them, I need y'all to come back with literally anything other than HIV. If you come back in here and you say it might be HIV, I'm going to be a problem. And that's when they stopped. That's when they stopped coming in and
Were
saying.
they ever able to find out
Yes.
what was actually
yeah.
going on?
It was like I had a bacteria and fungi, but and then I felt even still scorned when they sent that medical bill of $1,500, and I'm thinking, $1,500, and
For
I
me
had
to tell you how to do your job?
right, to tell 9 providers what PrEP is.
Oh my God! How much they paying you?
Right. Hello.
Wow.
Put me on the payroll if I gotta go over here and educate every provider about PrEP. So. Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness that you had the background and the knowledge. You know how that could have gone for someone else, right?
Yeah.
And how it could have just shaken them to their core.
Yeah.
Because you're already putting it out there. And it doesn't sound to me like there was a lot of care in how they were putting it out there.
Exactly.
There are people today that still look at HIV as some kind of death sentence.
Yeah.
So to tell a young person that, oh, well, it's got to be, that's just... I feel like they didn't take the care that they needed on so many levels.
Yeah.
On so many levels. Just a basic human. You don't have to be a clinician. I know their Hippocratic oath of first do no harm and all that, but you don't have to be.
And it would have done
harm.
harm.
You don't have to be a doctor though to walk and live by that.
Didn't you get off the plane and go right to Trillium?
I went right to Trillium and to get my prescription because at that point they were like, okay, we figured it out. We're going to send your prescription to where you're going. And so I end up and they had called me about the bill first. And then I was like, oh, you had to do some tests and you didn't tell me the results of this test. They were like, oh, nobody called you about your results. You actually have a bacteria and a fungus. And I was like, okay. You were concerned about getting this money, and I had to school y'all about me.
Wow.
It was just too much. Too much.
Whoa. Wow, I don't even know how to segue from that. Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That was difficult. So let's continue talking about difficulties. You seem to be in a really good space with your mom when it comes to what you can talk about. And your mom, as a sexual health and wellness educator, has been able to give you a lot that many parents can't give to their children. And so I'm going to redirect this. I'm not going to ask you this question. I'm going to ask your mom that question, because everyone doesn't have you as a mom. So for someone that doesn't have you as a mom or a model, I just want you to talk to the parents out there who aren't. Just share a little bit of what you have been able to share and give your son that has helped to create this confident, well-informed, knowledge and education seeking person who can now advocate for himself and others. Anything you can tell a mom out there who, I don't know anything about prep. I don't know anything about, what did you do? How did you start having these conversations?
I think first I'm a nurse, and then I went from nursing to teaching in high school, and I worked in a school-based health center.
Oh, you're just cheating. You got all the... She checks all the boxes, y'all. All the boxes.
Yeah, that was one of my first jobs once I got my nurse practitioner in a school-based health center. And it was based in a high school where I saw teens who were 14, 12, 16 coming down, and they didn't know. They thought they knew everything about sexual health, but they didn't know everything, and that was my job. And just seeing so many babies with STDs or pregnancies, and they couldn't have those conversations. Well, I don't want my mom to know I'm on this or whatever. That was just brought home. It was on the kitchen table. He knew. His sister knew. I mean, it just was what it was. And
was it different? I heard you mention that Miles has a sister. I'm just curious. The difference in gender, did that change anything for you as it applied to your approach with your children and what you discussed?
I think, and if you talk to his sister, as the oldest, she definitely had more responsibilities. She'll tell you we definitely babied him, but so did she, and so does she still. She's 37, he's 27. Yeah, she still does baby him. She will complain, but be the first person to jump up and do it, or the first person like, what, who, what? Nobody's talking about my brother, right? Because this will happen. And so I think just being a nurse, working in an inner city school, where those conversations didn't happen, or where those teens couldn't talk to parents, I wanted to become that voice. He will tell you that every year, and then I went from putting the nurse part to the side to actually teaching, becoming a health educator. And he will tell you every year I had a different child who was my adopted child for the year for whatever for whatever reason, because you're right, they didn't have the same household and privileges, and I wanted to do that, and I still do that. I teach at an LPN school, and it's just...
So your advice for a parent who wants to be able to talk more, maybe doesn't have your complete skill set, but they do want to engage a little bit more with their children.
Listen, take them. There are places out there. There are people, if you don't know how to say it, somebody else can teach it, But I think some of that is also coming back on that, well, it's my kid, I want to be in the room. And I think that's very hard for some parents, having worked in this field when it comes to sexual health. I'm not sure about the laws in North Carolina. I think it's the same thing, that when you hit 13, you're not allowed to be in the room. If they tell you no, I don't want you in the room, you can't. But I think it's hard for a lot of our teens because they have to go home. They have to do that car ride home.
Yes, they do.
And it doesn't matter.
Yes,
well, what did you say? I didn't go in the room, but I want to know what was said. What did they give you? Because if it's on my insurance or I'm paying for it, and then...
So is it listening or is it how we listen?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's listening, how you listen. You can't necessarily control everything with your kids with sexual health. I couldn't with him, his sister, but I could, we sexually active now. I know, well, what are we going to do to prevent STDs or pregnancy, because you have your whole life. And for us, in our household, my kids will tell you, education was everything. It's your key, that even if you don't go on, you know how to read, you know how to understand what you're reading, you know how to understand your medications or whatever. And I don't know, I think it's just...
Is there anything that you couldn't tell them or felt nervous about sharing?
I think maybe sometimes, like the fear. I think the fear part of sharing that. I'm scared of HIV. If there's a slip up or whatever. But he took that on, like prep. Like, he's taught me more about prep. Wow. He has, because one, I read his papers. I might call him and like, what is this word? What does this mean? And really, are these statistics right? And so, I think just being open.
Is there anything, Miles, that it seems as though you have the type of relationship where the groundwork has already been laid for open communication? Is there anything that you like, oh, as long as I don't have to tell her that you feel that way about?
No. No, I don't think there's like anything that like I'm scared to tell my mom. Like, I might not tell her, oh yeah, I took this boy on a date and I spent like $80 and then he ghosted me. I don't want to tell her things like that.
So you want to tell her I made a bad choice and I got played, mommy?
Because it won't even be.
But you can talk about sex.
It's going to end on what? But we just went out 2 days ago and you had me paid.
Oh, ouch. Okay.
You know, right.
So next time it's on you.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, like, I will.
How about body autonomy?
Yeah.
What do you remember? What'd your mother tell you about that?
About bodily autonomy. About like
bodily, not bottom.
I said bodily.
Bodily.
I said bodily.
Okay. Do you remember
Mm.
if your mother had that type of conversation with you? What do you remember?
I don't think we needed to necessarily have the conversation because I used to also be her guinea pig for all of her health videos for when she was a health teacher. So like every video that you remember in your health school class where it's like talking about consent.
I'm a little bit older than you.
Yeah.
So we didn't have a lot of videos on consent.
Right. Or I mean,
most of my education was fear-based.
Right.
That's not correct.
Same here.
But that's how it happened.
Yeah.
You know, there was some of that.
I would say same here. It was also fear. I mean, I think a lot of our education.
The black lungs scared you more than anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
From smoking.
She had this like black, and it was like a preserved black lung. Like it was like 3 lung slices. One was a healthy one. One was like an almost smoker, or like with the lung with the cancer, and then one was at the end, the tar one.
Oh Lord!
And it's like, why do you have this in the basement? This is right next to the Christmas decorations. Come on.
Are you a cigarette smoker?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, you want to ask that question again about why you got this in the basement?
I mean, because my dad was a cigarette smoker.
Okay.
And so, but yeah, no.
But he didn't grow up with the black lungs in the basement. You did.
Right. Maybe that's why I did grow up with it in the basement.
I'm just saying, it doesn't
Or
seem
my
like...
little box with all the birth control and the condoms.
Oh, yes.
All
All
of
the
that
birth control, condoms, the wooden phallic object.
So you don't smoke, you're on birth control and use condoms. That's what I heard, because all of this was in the basement.
It just was in the basement. And so, like, I don't think there was ever a real question of, like, talking about bodily autonomy. I think, like, my mom did convey the fear of, like, hey, you know, scared that, like, it's a big world. There's a lot of STDs out in the world, so you got to protect yourself. And yeah, I think like
I should have rephrased that. When I said it, what I was thinking of is things like who has access and rights to your body, and how to. I find that we talk about this more with our girls than we do our sons, and even with our daughters. Many times we send mixed messages. As a little girl, I learned really quickly that I did not have complete autonomy over my own body. My family was not trying to teach me that, but they were. Okay, so when Auntie so-and-so came over, and I don't even remember this woman, and you're pushing me to give her a hug, and you're teaching me right there that how I feel about my body and how I want to share it, you
Can I answer that one?
Yes.
I will say, hearing it that way now that you've described it, I don't think I did a very good job, because I think we did the same thing. Oh, this is Auntie so-and-so, go give her a kiss. I will say now with my grandson, we don't. And I even had to, tell my own mother, if Chase doesn't want to hug you, we don't. And so we try not to do that.
Gotcha.
But I will say with he and his sister, yeah, they still got that. Oh, this so go hug your aunt. Go.
It don't have to be extensive.
And so today, so as a mother today,
now I know.
Humor me, look at your son and tell him how you feel about that choice you made and what you would do differently if you would.
I would do that differently. I wouldn't say you have to go hug so-and-so. And I was like, no, if he doesn't want to hug you, it's his choice. So, yeah. I mean, we do it with Chase now, but
yeah, and
not with you or your sister.
I'm not regretful of it either, because one, I think it saves me in the South just a little bit, because like, you know how you're supposed to go in the room and greet everybody in the South, or it's like, or it's just in the black community, period, or it's seen as like, oh, you're who are you? You don't like everybody in
I
here?
think greet is subjective. And I do think you can go in and greet everyone.
Right.
And I would want my children to be respectful and know their relatives.
Exactly.
But and I'm not telling you I got it all right when I reared mine either. They're 32 and 38 years old, so that was a minute ago. And I'm sure I did some of that without even recognizing, even though I had it. It happened with me, and there were times where it was pushy. My grandmother could give the sloppiest kisses that weren't, and too bad. Go! You know, that kind of a thing. I wasn't as forceful with it with my own children, but I did some of that. Before you know better, you can't do better.
Yeah.
Now I know better, I do better. And that autonomy, I'd probably be the same. If I had a grandchild in my life, it would be the same. Where I would, no.
You could walk in a room and say hello.
She doesn't, right. They'd be greeting.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to make you give up your physical autonomy by forcing you to kiss someone, hug someone, allow them to embrace you, or that type of a thing. And okay, gender is a social construct, but we're living in it.
Yeah.
And we don't treat our boys the way we do our girls. And I'm not dismissing our children who are non-binary. I'm talking about gender as a social construct and the binary.
Yeah.
And it's different, what we do.
Yeah.
And sometimes we do our children a disservice because something that it should be a human thing, we are compartmentalizing and switching it up in a way where, oh, but this is a boy thing, this is a girl thing. You know what? Some of that shit is just a human thing. And bodily autonomy for me is a human thing. It's not if the person says they're a girl or a boy, or they don't say they're anything, they're a human being. Yeah. And I think that how we later live our lives, that helps. You know, I figured it out now. Would have been nice if I could have figured it out maybe 30 years ago, but but I do have it now, so I know better and I try to do better. Before we go, it's been so wonderful to have you both here. When we have relationships, they change us. And everything that we go through we are a combination of our experiences and environments. I'm not the woman I was before I had a baby. And every day I feel like I'm growing and evolving, and I hope to, as long as I'm breathing, to be growing and evolving to be the best rendition of myself ever possible. My children, for me, are a part of that in many different ways. So I want to ask your mother, and I want you to tell Miles, how has Miles changed your life?
I think Miles has made me more open to things, to be less suspicious, because I'm I think everybody's crazy and a serial killer or some sort. And he will tell you, my imagination can go beyond. And I think he's inspired me to participate more in community events, or He's trying to get me out more, to be freer. If he could dress me, I've never heard. So sons, you need to have the girls out more. What?
Oh,
exactly.
Oh, that is. Oh, I'm loving it.
Yeah, just I think that is how he's changed me. I think just to be more open to a lot of
and
things.
free.
Yep. I still won't have the girls out unless I'm comfortable having them out. But, this might have been the closest to it.
Y'all might see it at
So we could end right here, y'all. There will be no better soundbite. And this could be the end, but I don't want to be disrespectful. So I'm going to allow Miles to also look at your mom and tell her how has, and I know it's different and on a different scale because you're the offspring.
Yeah.
So how about this? How about share with the audience and tell your mother something maybe she doesn't even know where she's had an impact in your life?
I think my mom is the glue. I think my mom is the focal point, the pin, the that piece of wall that like holds up everything, and I look for that fortitude when I think about being strong. I look for that strength, that resolve, that let's pull this together. Like let's keep the ball moving. I think especially it was pivotal after my father passed. Like I think like I think about that all the time, and it inspires me to be more of a more put together person.
Do you hear her in your head? Is there something that you hear that gives you the like you hear your mother in your head?
Yes.
All right. What is it? What do you hear?
Yes. Like I give people grace. I think my mom is very graceful. I think she gives people grace and looks for the better side. Even though she just said she's a suspicious person, she's also a very forgiving. Not even forgiving. She's I think she sees the light in some people, and she enforces me or makes me think more critically about things. I'm a little bit more of a even though I am like a rambunctious person, I sometimes forget to take a step back, think about the details, think about the processes to get to that, and I try to think, okay, what would my mom do? Like before I just book this random trip somewhere. Wait, let me take a step back and think: is this the wisest choice? Is there a better?
Does she have an expression or something that she says that rings in your head when you're making those types of decisions?
Just be safe.
Okay.
Just be safe.
Okay.
And then, if I take a little risk, I'll let her know about the risk afterward. Like when I went to Egypt one time, I just let her know, hey, I flew on Ethiopian Airlines.
Without telling her?
Yes.
You just went to another continent?
Well, no, I was already on the continent. I was studying
Did she know
abroad.
that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
She knew I was going to Egypt. She did not know what airline I was taking.
Oh.
And it was like right after an incident with that airline. And I didn't tell her until like maybe 3 months afterward, until I got back on to
safely.
Yeah, safe home.
Okay.
But I mean, when I was thinking it through, I was like, okay, what would my mom say right now?
If my children are listening, let me tell you what I would say. No, I'm good. That's beautiful. It's beautiful. What I would say is I'm so damn happy that you made it all the way to Africa. But I feel you on that. And on that note, I want to just thank you so much, both of you, for being here. Miles, is there anything that you would like to, like parting words, leave with our viewers? Anything?
Yeah. I would say find community. I have community here for you too. I didn't mention I was part of Charlotte Black Pride. I'm the co-chair of Charlotte Black Pride. We're currently in Charlotte Black Pride's 20th year week right now.
Woohoo!
Right now, yes, woo woo woo. Black and bold, and to find that community. I think that community is so important. It truly shapes you to be, I think, a more humane person. Actually, we're going through a moral empathy crisis in this country, and I think community is the only way forward.
I'll say that.
So
say that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This has been Kin Folkx, Asada Nairobi. Happy birthday! I love you, baby.